So World Rugby have released their Dream Team of the Year for 2024, and in this video we're going to be looking through at who is a part of that side, and also if there are any notable names that missed out on the selection. But jumping straight into it, front row wise, very Southern Hemisphere dominant. Number 1, Oxnard, a man who everyone wished did get the opportunity to at least have a chance of winning World Rugby Player of the Year. He has been outstanding. Of course, it's been confirmed that Peter TOTY got the award, which is thoroughly deserved. But Oxnard, man, that man has had a great year for a prop. And it's something that the props just never quite get that recognition, so I'm at least glad to see Oxnard. And this team, number 2, Malcolm Marx. He's been a real super sub for the Springboks, as he always is, just an outstanding hooker, able to get those lineouts right. And even though he hasn't had a huge amount of minutes throughout 2024, has really stepped up when given the opportunity. Number 3, this is where they've gone with Tyrell Lomax. Now, when you talk about minutes, that man has had a bunch of them throughout the Rugby Championship, as well as the July Internationals and November. The man's hardly taken a break, and that could be somewhat because of Razor not knowing who else to use in that tight head role. We've seen only a little tiny bit of Pasilio Tosi getting to start for the All Blacks. Same with Fletcher Null, who I can't actually think of a start, but he has come off the bench a few times. But overall, a very strong front row for the World Rugby Dream Team. Moving on to the locks, number 4, they've gone with Eben Etzebeth, which makes perfect sense, seeing as he was one of the other players who were nominated for Player of the Year. And then number 5, Tadhg Beirne. The man is an absolute workhorse in that 5 jersey for the Irish, and the fact that he can also play in that loose forward trio makes him extremely valuable to have in a squad. Eben Etzebeth, that man from start to finish throughout this year, has come out with a vengeance. He managed to get himself the most caps out of any Springbok in history, bringing that milestone up for 2024. And the impressive thing is, he's still got a good few years in him. So he will continue to break that record, slowly work his way towards Alan Wynne-Jones. But moving on to the loose forward trio, number 6, Pablo Matera does receive it for the Argentines. Number 7, Peter TOTY, and number 8, Caelan Doris. So there are 2 more players nominated for Rugby Player of the Year. Peter TOTY, though, winning the award. He's played lock this year in parts of the Rugby Championship. He's been a sub, a part of Rassi's 7-1 split, but he's also been just a really strong starting lineup option for South Africa. He wins balls and breakdowns. He puts on the big hits. He runs hard. He's exactly what you want. And if you have at least one Peter TOTY in a Springbok lineup, you're going to find success just like they did. And at 2024, Pablo Matera, one of the standouts for Argentina throughout this year, had a strong rugby championship, was maybe a little bit more quiet in the November internationals than expected, but still did extremely well for that number 6 jersey. Honestly, I thought maybe we could have seen Wallace Satiti as that number 6, seeing as he hasn't actually had that many minutes as the number 8, plus he won World Rugby Breakthrough Player of the Year for 2024. So honestly, I would have gone either way. Pablo Matera certainly deserves it, but maybe Satiti could have been the guy who does get in there. Caelan Doris as the number 8. He is a hard worker for the Irish, alongside Josh Van den Flower in that loose forward trio. Those 2 had a brilliant Six Nations together, although Doris, having the captaincy under his belt for this year, has really stepped up to the plate. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for next year's Six Nations. Definitely with a couple youngsters coming through the ranks for this Irish team. Moving on to the backline, a man who was injured for a majority of 2024 has received that number 9 jersey, and that is Jamison Gibson-Park. Now, luckily, he was not injured throughout the Six Nations, as he was outstanding in that competition, and the fact that he only just came back from injury recently to join up with the squad in July and had an absolutely phenomenal performance in his very first match back means not only will he be strong for the Six Nations, but he'll be one to watch out for up against the Australians next week. Number 10, this is an interesting one, actually awarded to Damian McKenzie. Now, Scott Robertson at the start of the Rugby Championship, after a little bit of a shaky July, saying that the All Blacks still having a 100% winning rate throughout that July period, but Damian McKenzie was Scott Robertson's guy in that number 10 jersey. This was when Beauden Barrett was still playing at number 15, and McKenzie stepped up in some of those really important games. He was able to be solid, and I do think that maybe New Zealand made a mistake by not playing McKenzie as the 10. up against the French. Now, saying that, Beauden Barrett, I can see him as a 10 option in the future for the All Blacks, definitely with Harry Plummer going overseas, joining up with a French team next year. But overall, I think McKenzie, for the role that he was given this year, with no Richie Mo'unga and a jersey to fill, I think McKenzie, I would say it was a success. I know that some people would debate it, but I do think it was the right call to stick him. And at fly half in the midfield, this one is dominated by the Springboks. Damien Dialendi, number 12, and number 13, Jesse Kriel, the dream duo, which is exactly why they've made the dream team of the year. Dialendi, the crash ball specialist, Jesse Kriel, the pace, and the amount of minutes that man has played throughout 2024 is almost unbelievable. He was playing every game of the Rugby Championship pretty much from start to finish. He was one of the only guys Rassie said, you're not having a break. Get back out there on the field and show us what you can do. And each time he was told that, he delivered. And having Dialendi on the inside, definitely a combo we will see for the Springboks in the future. They have tried a couple others, Lukhanyo Am, Andre Esterhuizen and whatnot in that midfield combo. But this is definitely the strongest that the Springboks do still have. Now moving on to the back three. Number 11, James Lowe. Now, he had a great Six Nations. Throughout the November internationals, we didn't see as much of James Lowe, so there are probably a couple guys out on that left wing that you could debate having a better season. I will mention there is not a single French player in this lineup, so perhaps Belbari could be an option out there on the left. Mateo Carreras for the Argentines. He's had a great season. Same with Caleb Clark for the All Blacks when he was given the chances. But James Lowe, it still can't be denied how strong that left boot is when it comes to kicking the ball downfield. Although he was responsible for 2 tries scored up against the Irish in that South African series, which in the end cost the Irish the game. Out on the right wing, this one is not debatable. It is Cheslin Kolbe. He has had a dream season. He is the epitome when it comes to the statement, size does not matter. And he is one of those guys that once again, just like a couple of his Springbok teammates, was nominated for Rugby Player of the Year. And he was actually a lot of people's either first or second choice when it came to who would get that award, but his step is lethal. He scored tries for fun out on that wing, and the fact that he's only played maybe 60 to 70% of the games this year for Rassie's side and is still not just nominated, but also in this dream team shows exactly how world-class Cheslin Kolbe is. And then at number 15, this is where they have selected Will Jordan. Now, based off recent times, it is hard to debate, but we also have to remember Will Jordan did not play a huge amount of 15 throughout this year. We didn't see him in the July internationals. We also didn't see him playing 15 much throughout stages of the Rugby Championship. Actually found himself situated out on that right wing with either Stephen Perofeta or Beauden Barrett in that 15 jersey. So there are a couple notable names that maybe could have taken this spot. Apelele Fasi being one. I think he's had a breakthrough season for South Africa, really proving that he should be in that 15 jersey. Juan Cruz Malia for the Argentines, he has been great. And also Thomas Ramos throughout the Six Nations, having some really good moments at 15 as well. But overall, that is the World Rugby Men's 15 Dream Team of the Year. There are probably a few other notable names that I haven't mentioned about in certain positions. It was a little bit surprising not seeing a single French player in this side. Perhaps maybe we could have seen an English player in there somewhere. I don't think Marcus Smith would have been too far off getting that 10 jersey from Damian McKenzie. Ben Earl as the number 8. It's pretty hard to take Doris out, so I can understand why they didn't. But overall, a very strong team, and if they were to go up against any side in the world, I think that they would dominate. And all I'm going to say is, with the exception of 4 Irish players, we switch those guys out, we stick some more Southern Hemisphere lads in, and we have a British and Irish Lions equivalent, the Southern Lions, going up against the Northern Hemisphere. Some people would love to see it. I would be one of them, just because it gives us more games of rugby to cover. But nonetheless, do let me know what you think of this dream team. Who would you switch in? Who would you switch out? I can see the comments already. At least one person has said to just put the Springboks in there. So if you've watched up till this stage and you are the one who commented, congratulations. We predicted you. But nonetheless, we do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.